Okay, I'm Huey Poplock. This is the Sarasota Technology User Group for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. The Stug meetings, you're invited to attend the Stug Zoom meetings. We hold them the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You must register for each meeting, and obviously it looks like all of you did. That's how you got here. The meetings are open to the public for the Stug main meetings on the first Wednesday, but the classes and forums are for members only. Now, classes and forums, this is your incentive that if you're not a member and you're, and because we're doing these virtually now, you could become a member no matter where you are. We have a Windows 10 tips, tricks, and tech talk by Dave Gerber. By the way, he had one scheduled for Friday. He had some hardware issues and cannot do it, and I'm tied up, so I can't be his substitute, so the meeting will be rescheduled. So if you were signed up for the September 4th Windows 10 tip, tricks, and tech talk, it will be coming at a later time. He does these once a month, and sometimes more often, but he has to do it around his work schedule, so he can't usually give a big lead time on it. The iPhone, iPad workshop series, Saturdays in the month of September from 10 until noon, hosted by Bill Crow. September 5th will be Siri, Calendar, and Safari. The 12th, you can see his email, news, and weather. 19th, notes, fonts, airdrop, and messages. And the 26th, storage, iCloud, Dropbox, transferring your photos to Google Photos, and getting music from your computer. And that's the Saturdays in September. The Information and Internet Security, SAFE, Security Awareness for Everyone, be hosted by Paul Wax on the 15th. This class will help you protect yourself against viruses, identity theft, and other dangers you might encounter on the internet. The Stug Help Desk is a monthly feature of Stug for its members. It's now scheduled for the third Wednesday of every month. The next meeting is the 16th of September from 1 until 2 p.m. It's hosted by Jim Cerny, and you do need to let him know, and then he'll make sure that you get the proper link to the meeting. Also, the New Normal Technology and Coping with COVID-19, hosted by Paul Wax on Thursday, September 24th from 10 till noon. And you can see, of course, and you've probably heard of COVID-19 and the new normal, and he's going to discuss that and put his spin to it. Using Windows Explorer will be Thursday, September 24th, 2 to 3:15 p.m., hosted by Jim Cerny. The Windows Explorer is the app you use to find and organize anything on your computer, your Windows computer. Everything you want to do with the files can be done with this app, including organizing them into folders, moving, copying, and deleting them too. So you can rename a file or folder, copy it to another drive, such as backups, or move. And by the way, I should have moved this out of the way. So hang on. Oops. Sorry about that. Or move it to your desktop. Windows Explorer is a gotta know for all Windows users. And so that's another one in the month of September. To register for these Stug workshops, there are two methods depending upon the teacher. You'll either send an email to the instructor, which includes your full name, member number, and email address, or you'll click the link below the class description, and that will be in the emails that are sent out to all of the members. And then you register from that. What I'd like you to do today is, because we forgot to add whether you're a member or not to the registration for today's meeting. So if you will add your name to the chat box, just go into the chat box and then put your first and last name. If you're a member, your member, and if you know your member number, put it as well. Just say you're a member. If you're a visitor, and I forgot the E on please, so it's not please, I'm not pleading with you. I'm just asking you nicely. Add the following: your first and last name, city and state where you're located, and if you're in a user group, what group you're a member. There's a couple examples at the bottom. And I thank you for doing that. Just a reminder, your Stub leaders, president is Ann Ross, first vice president is Nancy DeMarty, second vice president is Peter Schneider, secretary is Judy Black, and treasurer is Dick Orenstein. Directors are Bill Crow, Mike Hutchinson, Dick Bayless, and Jim Cerny, and our star director is Leo Wolverton. Don't forget the Stub website. You're welcome, Marshall. https://thestug.org. A lot of information. He adds new things every week, usually several times a week. Make sure you're checking that website. Lots of good information, lots of good help. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ann, and she's going to introduce our speakers, Jim and Chris. So hang on while I stop my share.
2 quick questions. Is this being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and if you are not a member, how do you get the invite to come to one of our monthly meetings?
Good question. We're trying to promote it, and I'm not sure if Marshall places that on the website or not, but if you don't get one, if you're on here, you should, we'll have to figure out a way to do that. That's a good question. Thank you, Sharon. And did you have another question?
No, that was all. I have a friend whose husband was a member, and she doesn't know if his membership was still intact, and I was going to invite her to come to tonight's meeting, and I didn't know if I could send her my invite. Or...
Yeah, the invite you can, the link you can't, because the link is tied to you and your email address.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of, because then she couldn't get in.
But the registration invite is, you can send that to anybody, they can fill it out, and they'll get in return their own link to the meeting. So you're welcome to share that. Okay, Ann, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Huey. And you forgot to mention yourself. Huey Poplock and Jim Cerny are also directors.
Yeah, Jim was on that list. I forgot. I took it from a list that I had, and I didn't have my name on it. So.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm on the board too. All right.
Well, we're delighted to have you and Jim on the board as well. And tonight, I am excited to introduce to you Chris and Jim from geeksontour.com. And they've been busy putting together a new book on Google Photos, as well as a new YouTube channel. Why? Because Google Photos is all new in 2020. There's even a new logo. There's a fabulous new map for all your photos, and the menus have changed, and there are numerous small improvements that have made managing your photos simpler than ever. I will be listening intensely. Jim and Chris, welcome to our new way of having a Stug meeting via Zoom. They were last here in March, and that was our last live meeting. So tell us about your new book and your YouTube channel, and I am sure afterwards that there will be questions. Chris and Jim.
Okay, thank you very much. It's great to be back here at Sarasota Technology User Group.
And we're getting pretty accustomed to this new way of doing seminars via Zoom here.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not know us, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jim.
And we do call ourselves Geeks on Tour. We've been into technology for a long time, and we are usually touring.
This year it's been a little less touring and a lot more staying at home. So we're isolating here. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, by the way, just across the state.
Just across the alley, yeah.
Okay. So we will be taking questions a little bit later.
I love questions.
Absolutely.
I love questions. And I will pause and ask once in a while, but if you have a question, please, you can put it in the chat.
But we may not see it right away.
And then we'll notice and and ask you to
And preface it with a cue or a question or something like that. that way we can spot it easier. All right, you ready for this?
Sure. Well, thanks for that introduction, Anne, and for inviting us to come here again. We are talking about Google Photos. We talk about Google Photos all the time. And yes, it had some major changes back in June. And because of that, I put off updating my book. I wrote a book about Google Photos a while ago, but it needs to be updated all the time. And this year, we updated it to 2020 and gave it a new name. In case you've had my book before, it used to be called Mrs. Geek's Guide to Google Photos. Now it is just Learn Google Photos. And it's gotten a fair amount thicker. And we'll be telling you about it tonight. So Learn Google Photos 2020. First of all, I want you to know about the free resources we have to continue learning about Google Photos. One is the website, learngooglephotos.com. And it's a blog plus more, but the blog part of it has articles. So you just kind of keep up with the articles and you'll learn something new every time. A YouTube channel. Now this one is brand new, youtube.com/learngooglephotos. Our main YouTube channel is Geeks on Tour, but we were just doing so much with Google Photos that we decided to spin it off. So go there and subscribe if you're interested in learning more about Google Photos. And lastly, if you want to join in discussions and ask questions of other users and me, I do have a Facebook group. So just facebook.com/groups/learn Google Photos, or you can go to Facebook and search for Learn Google Photos and you should find this group. It is a private group. You have to ask to join, but as long as you just answer the first couple of questions, you will be admitted, no problem. I am curious how many of you here, and you can just physically raise your hand, how many of you here do use Google Photos? Okay, so quite a few, but not everybody.
So what's wrong with the rest of you out there?
No, there are certainly other options.
I know.
But I do think Google Photos is the best. It's not without its issues. I sometimes have been known to get pretty upset with it, but it really is hands down the best way, especially for free, to store your entire lifetime of photos. So here is the little promotion for the book launch. And in case you don't know, I am a Google Photos product expert designated by Google. I am one of those who answer questions on their official forum, and they've designated me as a platinum level Google Photos expert. If you are interested in the book but not sure, you can get a free chapter. So if you just go to this link on any computer, I've shortened the link with using the bit.ly, so it's bit.ly/LGP. What's that stand for?
Learn Google Photos. And this is case sensitive, by the way. So you want to make sure that the LGP is in uppercase, then the dash intro. So it's bit.ly/LGP in caps -intro.
And this chapter is the introduction. So but it goes into some detail. For example, it starts out telling you that Google Photos is not a new tool for doing the same photo organizing tasks you've always done. It is a whole new way. So if you've already gotten very accustomed to your methodology of storing all your photos on your computer, changing the file names, making folders and subfolders. Google Photos is not going to be able to do that for you. Google Photos puts everything in the cloud privately and uses artificial intelligence to keep it all organized. So it was intended from the ground up to be a tool that helps us when we are now taking thousands of pictures rather than just the dozens that we used to take with film cameras and even with digital cameras. Now that we're using that phone in our pocket, we have a lot more pictures and it's a lot more work to manage them manually. But with Google Photos, it manages them automatically. Okay. So to kind of refresh the memories of people who are using Google Photos and to give a little tour for those who don't use it, I have a video here, and it is using the new version. So watch carefully if you are using Google Photos for the changes, and just watch for the overall purpose of it if you are not a Google Photos user.
There you go. There you go.
Hi, I'm Chris Gould.
And I'm Jim, and we're Geeks on Tour.
And learn Google Photos. And in this video, I want to give you a quick tour of all that's possible using Google Photos. We took a little trip to the Keys a couple of weeks ago, and I took a bunch of pictures with my Samsung Android phone. Let's take a look. Just open Google Photos, and here are the photos. So we started driving down, and then we parked our little RV, and then we took a glass of wine out to watch a sunset.
Hey, I have some photos too.
Oh, that's right. But you know what? I don't even have to ask him to send them to me because I use a feature called Partner Shared Library in Google Photos. So let me show you how I would go get a photo from Jim's library. It's under the Sharing tab and Jim's photos. So at any time, either of us have the ability to go through a back door, if you will, and see each other's photos. So I can scroll through until I get to where the keys are. This one of our little RV, I think he has a better photo than I do. So I'm looking at his library, but if I tap the save up here, that picture is now in my library. And I'll go back then to my library. And what I'm going to do now is mark favorites. So we started driving. I'll say, yep, I need this one. My favorite photos are either my best ones or the ones that are important for telling the story. So this one helps tell the story. I just tap on the little star there. It becomes a favorite. I like this one showing our tiny RV. That's a favorite. And this one is a favorite. And this one is a favorite. Now, I love the picture of the wine glass in the sunset, but I have 3 of them. So let me see. I think I like that one the best. I'll favorite that one. And I certainly like that one. And then tons of pictures of this gorgeous sunset. I'm just going to pick a couple. I like that one. And that one is the best sunset picture. So I will favorite that. And then I'll end with looking in that direction. And there is the picture from Jim's library. I'm going to favorite that one. Now, to look at my pictures without all this clutter, I will just look at my favorites. That's under Library and Favorites. So now I am just seeing the pictures that I marked as favorite. Now, I want to do some editing. So this picture of the road, I need to zoom in so that you can see that road sign. You tap the edit button, crop, and now you can tell where we are. Done, and I'll always do an auto, that kind of brightens it up a little, and save. The next picture is this one, and on this one, You can hardly see our little RV, but I don't want to zoom in on it. I want to point out what a tiny RV that is. So I'm going to add some text to this picture. You tap on the edit, and then it's this little squiggle, which is the markup tool. First, I will draw. See, we have 3 tools down here: draw, highlight, and text. First, I'll draw a little arrow, and then I'll type some text. And then you tap done, and now I can move that text down and size it. And adding text, I need to save a copy. This picture is a beautiful scene, but it's a little blah. So let's see if we can fix it up. Edit. First, I'm going to crop it. Then I want to add a little bit of color. So I tap on the tuning and there is color, but that didn't do as much as I would like. If I scroll down on that, I have lots more choices. And if I just give that a little more warmth, there, that's the sunset that I remember. And if you long press on it, you can see what the original was, and there's what the new one looks like. And I save. This one is just a little bit dark. If I go into edit and I just make it lighter, that's good, but I don't want to lighten the sunset too much. So instead of making it lighter, I'm going to drill down and I'm just going to say, get rid of some of the shadows. So you see how now I can see Jim more clearly, but the sunset is still properly exposed. And save. Now I want to make a collage. Let's just pick a couple. I definitely want that one in the collage. I select it. I want the wine glass and the RV and the road sign and the beautiful sunset. I tap plus and collage. Boom, I have a nice collage. I think I'll post that on Facebook. Now realize I was doing this while we were still there. So before we even turn in for the night, I have already selected my best pictures, made them look better, put them into a collage, and post and share them on Facebook. Just one last thing to show you about how Google Photos works, and that is because it's cloud-based, I can say, gee, I'd rather look at these pictures on a bigger screen like my iPad. And I can open Google Photos and I can go to my favorites. That's under Library and Favorites. And here are those same pictures with the edits. And that is a quick tour of all that you can do with Google Photos and how it's just fun. Like I say, we did this while we were sitting and drinking our wine and watching the sunset. We get to play with our pictures. When we go to bed, that day is done in our Google Photos.
Whoops.
Now, yeah, I know that went kind of quick. So I want to just pause and review a little bit of it and ask you a couple questions. Did you notice the first thing I showed in that video was the shared library? So I'm curious, does anybody here use the shared library feature between themselves and their spouse, for example? It's a really nice feature. I mean, we both are taking pictures all the time, and you know, mine are usually better. But every once in a while, I might want to see one of his. And does it ever bother you that you never have any pictures of yourself? because you don't take the pictures that have you in it, you know, he takes them. Well, in Google Photos, there is an option. You can only have one partner, so it is specifically for spouses or family members. But there is an option to say not only do we each have access to each other's library, but whenever he takes a picture of me, it's automatically saved to my library. So every picture he takes of me, I have in my Google Photos library automatically. It's just way cool. And vice versa. Any picture I take of him shows up instantly in his library.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
And at any time, if I think that maybe he took a better picture of something than I did, I can just go in and see his pictures, and I can save any of them to my library. So that was the first thing I showed. Now that's not brand new, but I know it's something that a lot of people are not aware of. So secondly, that I showed is favorites. Favorites is a relatively new feature, not just from 2020. It came out in 2019 sometime, but I am starting to use it more and more. I think it's the only thing that you have to do to organize your photos. I hate deleting photos. The pictures of that sunset, I liked all 12 of them. I didn't want to delete any. But I could decide, yeah, those 2 are the best ones, and I could mark them as favorites. And from then on, just look at my favorites anytime that I want to see an uncluttered view. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of questions, one of which is my next point. The next thing I did in the video was editing. So somebody says, if you don't like the picture, can you fix it? Well, now, wait a minute. I think maybe you're talking about if you don't like the way you look on the picture that got automatically saved. Well, it depends. It does not have an erase wrinkles feature, although
Yeah, it does, sort of.
Snapseed does have an erase wrinkles feature, but the editing features right in Google Photos, right on your phone, are really pretty good. You can change the lighting, the brightness and the coloring.
And you can crop it and do some really cool editing.
Okay, Anne asks, what exactly are we downloading when it's done? You're not downloading anything. It just stays in the cloud. All of this is done in the cloud. Now, in the book, I have a whole chapter called Keeping Your Photos Safe. And in there, I do highly recommend downloading your best to your computer. So I'm not sure if we're just using the term differently, but all these photos are in the cloud. When you edit them, you're editing them in the cloud. His library is in the cloud. When it saves the picture that he took of me to my library, it's just going from his cloud to my cloud. Nothing is downloading either to my computer or to my phone.
Any need for Snapseed with this upgrade?
Oh, I love Snapseed, absolutely.
Yeah, you still want to use Snapseed.
Yeah.
Snapseed is like a extra editing tool,
Yeah.
but it's free, it's from Google, and it works very well with Google Photos.
Just using Google Photos, I can take a photo that looked and make it look good. If I use Snapseed, I can make it something that people go, oh, wow. So it has those extra features for photo editing.
All right. When you edit the pic and save, what happens to the original?
It is not lost. It's like a layer. So if you edit a picture, you make it look better. The example we used to use is we would have a picture of the 2 of us. I could make it look better just by cropping him out. Right?
Just like that.
But and the photo, it looks like there is only one photo and it only has me in it. But if I go into edit, there is a command to undo edits and it'll bring him back.
So that's a better picture already, right? Just look at that.
Okay.
And let's see, does Google Photos save in full resolution or does it compress?
Go ahead.
If you want unlimited free storage for all of your photos, then Google Photos will do some compression. And it saves all of the pixels up to 16 megapixels. So that's a really high quality picture. If you have need for a full original size and you want to store that in the cloud, Google allows you to do that, but they only give you 15 gigabytes. So if you want to store a bunch of pictures or videos, because remember, Google Photos does videos also, then you can pay for extra storage, and it's very cheap. You can actually get a lot of storage. But the high quality compression that it uses is really, really good. And for most people, that's perfect. Now you don't, if you have your pictures on your computers, they're there full size, no problem. And as long as you keep those backed up, you always have your originals if you do it that way. But once they're uploaded into the cloud, Google Photos gives you unlimited storage for free for all of your photos and videos up to 1080p and 16 megapixels for your regular photos, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's your choice to have the compression or not. If you allow the compression, you get free unlimited. If you don't, you have to pay. It's $2 a month for 100 gigabytes. So it's no big deal. If you want them full, then go for it.
Okay.
And I see please show how to turn on the feature that when your spouse takes your photo, it will show up. So let's do that.
All right. Here you go.
So this is my Android phone, but this works exactly the same on an iPhone. Now let's see, where is that? It's under shared. That's under sharing. So they've moved it, and I will demonstrate this in a minute, but there used to be a sharing button down at the bottom. Now it's this, it looks kind of like a speech bubble, and it's up at the top left. And that is sharing. And there's Jim's photos, and it said saving automatically photos of three people. So we've specified more than one. Now I can look at the settings by going under my account button, my little face in the upper right-hand corner, account and photos settings. And partner sharing. Partner sharing, shared with Jim. Jim can access all my photos. I could also specify that he could only access photos of specific people or only photos since a certain date. Photos saved to your account, photos of 3 selected people. And those people, here I see all the faces that have been recognized in my library, and it's his son Devin and himself and me, Chris, that are specified. So that was in, let me just repeat. Account, photos settings, and partner sharing. The first time you ever go here, you need to set it up. You need to send him an invite to share in your library. He needs to accept that, and then you have these settings. Okay. How many can you share with? That particular feature about share, that shares your entire library. You can only have one partner. Now you can share albums with as many people as you want. So you can put together albums of pictures and share with as many as you want.
Let's see. Sharon wants to know, can you do all the editing on the computer as well as your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And so Anne says, if all photos are in iCloud, what's next for Google Cloud? I'm not sure.
Do you mean, and go ahead and unmute Anne Salomon. You say what's next for Google Cloud. Do you mean how to get them from iCloud to Google? I don't see her on here. So Anne Salomon.
Here.
Is she there? Maybe she stepped away. Okay. Well, if the question is, how do you get them from iCloud to Google Cloud?
Yeah, that would be right.
She is.
Yes. Do you need both now, or which, I mean, if I have iCloud, do I need Google Cloud?
If you want to use Google Photos, and Google
Yeah, right,
Photos
okay.
has different competitors. They are competitors. They are competitors.
Yeah.
So if, in my opinion, Google is better, but not by a whole lot. So if you are already if you are completely into the Apple world, you have a Mac, you have an iPhone, you have an iPad, and you're perfectly happy with the Apple Photos experience and the iCloud, then that's fine. I do think that Google Photos has some better features, and all you would have to do is install the Google Photos app on your iPhone.
Okay.
Because all of your photos from iCloud are on your iPhone. When you turn on Google Photos, it will upload all of your iCloud photos to
Fine.
Google.
Good. That answers it. Thank you.
And then you can start using Google Photos.
Thanks.
Great. Can we demo Snapseed? Oh, can we?
No. Oh, that's a whole nother seminar.
Oh, I can do one.
Okay, you can do one.
And I'm going to do it using notice the beauty of Google Photos is it's all in the cloud, and there's both an iOS app and an Android app. So I can use my Android phone, I can use my iPhone, or I can use my iPad. I have the complete access to the same library of photos. So I'm going to use the iPad because it's a little bit bigger, makes it easier to see. And now look good. All right, so I go into Google Photos. And I have some, oops, it's not connected to the internet. That's not, so my Wi-Fi, I don't have my Wi-Fi on. And I can turn it on, but then it takes a minute, so sorry. I'm gonna go to my Samsung phone to do this. Okay. And I already have some samples that I think work well with Snapseed. So there's a picture. I love picnic tables. I take pictures of picnic tables everywhere. And I kind of like the composition of this, but boy, could it be improved. So oops. And this apparently is a shared album. Yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't have done this. Because there are a few. All right. Let's take this picture. This is a picture of a lighthouse from a boat, and it's a pretty picture, but it could be a lot prettier. You tap the edit button in Google Photos. I'm in Google Photos. Tap edit. And then on an Android, you find Snapseed under the 9 dots. Snapseed. Now you do have to, it's a separate app, you do have to install it, but once you install it, you can get to it from Google Photos. My favorite tool in Snapseed is called HDRscape. I tap on Tools, I tap HDRscape, and can you see how it made the colors? And now I can just rub. Do you see the difference? If I rub to the right, I get more of that feature. If I rub to the left, I get less, and I can put it right about where I want it. And give it maybe even a little more color. And then let's say I want to get rid of this dredge that's in the middle of the inlet there. I tap check mark on that. I go get the tool called healing. And then I just rub where that is. What did I do? Healing. Rub there, and it's gone. Now it got a little funky, so I'll undo that and I'll try it again. There. So that's, and there's lots more to Snapseed, but just giving you a little bit of the idea that it has some advanced, and we have a whole course. We have a whole online course on Snapseed. All right. So probably
One more question.
Okay, one more question.
How do you remove photos from favorites? There's a delete button, but I'm afraid that will delete it from the cloud.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. To remove it from favorites, you just unfavorite it.
It's the star. So there's a star on each photo that you can have active or not. And if you just click on that star again, it'll go away.
Yeah, tapping the star makes it a favorite. Tapping the star again makes it not a favorite. Okay, now what's new? So everything I've just shown you, I mean, I've been showing you on the new app, so the commands and all that, but everything I've been showing you has been around in Google Photos for a while. You just access it in slightly different places. June 25, they released new Google Photos. They changed the icon. So the icon on the left here is the old icon. The one on the right is the new icon. How many people like the old icon better?
Oh, too bad.
How many people like the new icon? Well, I was very invested in that old icon. So I didn't like it at first, but it really has grown on me. The simplicity and the clarity, I've decided I like it. So that's one big new thing. Secondly, the menus are all rearranged, and I'll tell you a lot more about that. And thirdly, there is a fabulous new feature called the photo map. So if you've been accustomed to Google Photos for a while, you will be a little bit disconcerted with the things that aren't there anymore. The three-line menu in the upper left. We're so accustomed to just going to the three-line menu for everything. It's not there anymore. The search field at the top of the screen, not there. The albums tab down at the bottom, not there. The For You tab, not there. And the Sharing tab, not there. So
Where'd they go?
Where'd everything go? It's all still there. They just rearranged the furniture. And I came up with this little grid. And don't worry if you can't see it. I'm going to show you how you can get this grid. It's in one of my latest articles in learngooglephotos.com. So if we just go to learngooglephotos.com, there. This is our new website.
Isn't it pretty?
Learngooglephotos.com. And if you just scroll down First of all, here you'll see the offer for the launch special for our book. But if you keep scrolling down, explore the blog. And this one right here, Google Photos is 5 years old and brand new. If you read that, this is everything I'm going to teach you tonight. Here is the old app with where all the buttons are. Here's the new app with where all the buttons are. And here is that grid. So for example, if you want to know, how do I change the settings? The old app, you would go to that 3-line menu. The new app, you go to the account button in the upper right. How do I find my albums? In the old app, you were accustomed to going to the Albums tab. In the new app, you go to the Library tab, and albums are under there. What about sharing? You used to go to the Sharing tab. Now you go to that speech bubble icon in the upper left. All right, so, and it goes through, I just made this grid up thinking about, well, what are all the things that we would use the app to do? And I wrote them out. So where do you find that? At
LearnGooglePhotos.com.
Okay. Now, the best part, though, is this new map feature. And for that, we have another video. Hi, this is Chris Guld, Geeks on Tour and Learn Google Photos. And in this video, I want to show you about the new map feature in Google Photos. Google Photos, and you just tap Search, and you tap Explore Map. It first pops up right where you are and shows you your most recent picture, but it's very easy to just scroll around. If I want to see pictures that I took in Key West, I just tap there. Those black dots represent pictures taken on the same day, December 15, 2017. And then if I scroll through here, as soon as I jump to the next day, you'll see another set of black dots. If I say, yep, these are the pictures I want to look at, I can increase the size of the bottom and just scroll around in my pictures, or I can decrease it all the way and just be seeing the map. I especially love that I can pinch the screen and show you the whole country and brag about all the places that I've taken pictures. I have 39,903 pictures. It also is not limited to the North America. I can go to anywhere in the world and show you pictures that I've taken there. For example, in Italy, Venice. And I can show you that we went kayaking in the Grand Canal in Venice. So cool. But these aren't all my pictures, just the ones that have location information attached to them. So what if I go to Alaska and I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska? There are no pictures there. Why not? Because I didn't have a cell phone back then and that stored the geolocation. But I know I have a few photos, old scanned photos, so I'm going to find them and add the location. That can only be done on a computer. So here are the pictures I've found that are in my Google Photos library, and they're from Alaska. This one is of our house in Anchorage. So you click on it, you make sure that the info panel, this little eye here, is open, and notice the where was this taken. You can tap the pencil. And now here's the only problem. You have to have a named location. It can't be a spot on a map, but most places are there. Anchorage, Alaska. Now it is on the map. And you can do that for multiple pictures also. So here is another picture that is right in Anchorage. And this one, you could select several and then tap the 3-dot menu and edit location and type Anchorage, Alaska. Now you can get a little more specific if you know the name of a place. So for example, this picture was taken still in Anchorage, but it was actually Lake Hood. So I open it, click where was this taken, and type Lake Hood, Anchorage, and there it is. You have to click on it in the list. Now there's a map associated with it. Okay, let's go back to the phone and see if the map feature has these photos on it now. And yes, that is something to realize. Only the mobile devices have this search and map feature. So I search, I explore map, I pinch the screen until I can move to Alaska. And I now see a heat map around Anchorage. And here are the pictures, like 4 pictures. And notice as I move on the pictures, the little dot in the map moves. So that is Explore Map feature in the Google Photos app on both iOS and Android.
Cool.
And I've been finding more and more uses for that. I mean, it's cool just to be able to browse and see your photos on a map, but consider this. We live in a community here where all the mailboxes are in one spot. And when we're away, we have to ask somebody else to check our mailbox. And so at one point, I took a photo of the mailboxes and with Jim pointing to the one that is ours. And I want to send that photo to my friend who's going to come over and check our mailbox. Are you with me? Am I going? Is that too weird of an example? It's just one that I've actually used. And I go to my photos and I say, I have no idea when. I mean, in Google Photos, your photos are all arranged by date taken, right? By date taken. So I'm looking for this photo I took of our mailboxes. And I have no idea. I might have taken it 2 years ago. I might have taken it 2 months ago. I have no idea. I say, okay, well, how about if I search for mailboxes? And I get some results, but apparently it didn't see this bank of little boxes identified as a mailbox. But what do I know? I know exactly where that was taken. So I go to the map and it starts off right where we are. So I just keep zooming in.
Taking quite a few pictures around here.
Yeah. This is going to be a bit difficult. I have to zoom right, but look how accurate it can be. I mean, I know, I understand these streets and I know that our little set of mailboxes is right there. I tap there and sure enough, there is the picture of the mailboxes, but I think maybe I took a better one. Yeah, that one. So because I know where that picture was taken, I can find it. All right. Any other questions? Or I mean, I hope you like that maps feature. It's way cool. Yeah. What is the backup feature under account for? Why would you need to back up your Google account? I know, I wish they would use a different word. That is a very important feature though. That is the #1 main feature of Google Photos. That means when I take a picture on the phone, upload it to my Google Photos account. They call it backup. I do think it's a bit of a bad use of that term, but it's that you do need to turn backup on in order to get your photos from your phone to the Google Photos in the cloud. How do I get the book? We will get there, I guarantee it. But let me ask, so it's 8:05. I must have misread. I saw that this meeting goes from 7 to 9:30. No, you're not really going to stay with me till 9:30, right?
She could keep going though. She won't stop until you tell her to stop.
But tell me if I am getting up to where you do need to stop. I have a couple other things. I do want to show you that, is there a danger of the Google Photos crashing? No. Well, the app might crash.
You just restart it.
But your photos are all in the cloud. Do you realize that Google Photos is used by close to 1.5 billion
Individuals
people now? So they have, their cloud server systems are very robust, as they say. Yeah, can the cloud crash? No. Now, every once in a while, there is a glitch. I mean,
they just had one last week.
Yeah, there will be times, if you're using it all the time, that you will go to look at your Google Photos in the cloud and all you see is gray boxes. But, give it 10 minutes, go look again, and they'll be all back. It's computer. But I think maybe what you're asking is, do you need another backup? Absolutely. You do not want your precious photos to only live in one place. So, Jean, all right, bye-bye. If you want to buy the book, it's all at just learngooglephotos.com. There's the special is right there.
And it's also available on Amazon and the Kindle version. So
Yes.
just search under books on Amazon. Doesn't recognize you.
Let's put this in the way.
Yeah.
Okay. So most everything, Google Photos has an app for Android, an app for iOS, and on a computer, you just go to the website, Google Photos.
And that's either on Windows or a Mac.
Or Mac, yeah. It's
the same thing.
It's just you go to photos.google.com. And as long as you are logged in with your same Google account, the same little circle with your face in it in the upper right-hand corner, you should be seeing all the same pictures. And I can scroll through by date. I have photos in here all the way back to 1890.
Yeah, we had a time machine.
That's a picture of my great-great-grandfather. And I, of course, took that from an old family album. I just took my phone and snapped a picture of his picture in the old family album. And I changed the date. You can do that in Google Photos. But to get from 1890 back to today, how many minutes or hours do you think that would take of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling? How about a split second to get back to the picture I took just 2 days ago? And the editing, somebody asked, can you edit? Same features. Let's see, what's a good one here to edit? Oops, that's a video. Videos as well. I keep forgetting to say it's for photos and videos.
Not a lot of editing with the videos, though.
But there is some.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever wanted to just capture one frame out of a video? You can do that on the phones. All right. Let's say this picture. I wanted to get just our RV, which is the one on the right here. You click on the edit button and then crop. And then you just drag the edges in. And done. And done. So you can do the Google Photos editing on a computer just as easily as you can on a phone. And to answer that other question that we had, if I go back into edit, I can undo edits.
Now, the one thing about the editing on the computer is you don't have Snapseed. But if you have a Chromebook, you can get all of that stuff and have a big screen and be able to do all of this editing on a larger screen with a touch screen and all of that stuff. So it's really, really handy.
Okay, I see a question. How do you back up from the phone? All you do is turn it on. So
Android.
so I go into my Google Photos and it's just on by default. If I take a picture now, it is going to get uploaded to Google Photos. But the setting is in Accounts, Photos setting, Backup and Sync. You have to tell it what Google account you want to back up to, and whether you're going to go with the high quality size, which does compress a little bit, but gives you free unlimited storage, or whether you want the original quality. Lastly, you tell it whether it's allowed to use your cellular data plan to do the uploading.
If you don't have an unlimited cellular data plan, you probably don't want to enable that because it will use your data. And if you go over, you might run out of data. So, but most of us nowadays have a good Wi-Fi or internet connection at home with Wi-Fi. So that's the way to do it.
Okay, let's finish. And then how would you back up all the photos on Google Photos to some other cloud? Okay, that's harder. What I do, if the photos are on your phone now, I back up to a second cloud as I take the photos. I use Microsoft OneDrive, and it has an app just like Google Photos, or iCloud if you're on an iPhone, or I use Microsoft OneDrive on my iPhone as well.
Or if you're an Amazon Prime member, all of your photos can be stored at Amazon for free, but they don't get your videos, just your photos for free.
For free. So the key is, as you take the photos, they can be going to two clouds. That's what I do. They go to my Google Photos, absolutely, and they go to my OneDrive. But what about all those hundreds of thousands of photos that I took with other cameras? Then you have to also get those from your computer and send up to another cloud. Or actually, if they're on your computer and they're in Google Photos, that gives you two.
All right.
Now,
that's a true backup.
So that's what I consider a backup. What really distresses me is when I see people take pictures with their phone, back them up to Google Photos, and then delete them from their phone. You can do that. Google Photos allows that. Unlike iCloud, you can't do that. Google Photos allows you to free up space from your phone, but now you only have one copy, the Google Cloud copy, and that's not good.
That is not a backup.
So I say back them up to a second cloud, then you can free up space on your phone. Okay. How do you back up all photos in the cloud to another device? Well, as I said, there is a whole chapter in the book called Keeping Your Photos Safe, and that's what it's all about. And there are several options for that. Okay, so now let's finish up here, and I'll stick around to take more questions. Searching. You can search by anything. You can search by dates. You can search by the contents of a photo. So if you're trying to think of that photo where your mom and dad were or daughter and boyfriend were having a nice hug, just search for hugs and it will find it. Or kayaking in Venice, I could have searched for that. You can search by text, file names. Anything you type into the description of a photo is searchable. So if you want to be able to find a photo later, just put some words into the description and you'll be able to find it. You can search by people's names, by type. If I just want to find collages that I've made, search by collages. All right. So how do you buy the book? Well, the book is available at Amazon. What, $17.95 for the black and white, $24.95 for the color version, and $7.95 for the Kindle version. But we think this just came out yesterday. So the month of September is our book launch month. And does anybody get irritated when they open a book to do something on it and it won't stay open to that page? I love spiral binding. And
Amazon does not do spiral binding.
yeah, Amazon does not do spiral binding. So
But Jim does.
we are adding that. And after September, it will cost $34.95 for the spiral bound book. But for this month, so the spiral bound book normally will be $34.95, and that's color and autographed. And then we also are giving workshops, hands-on workshops, where I give you exercises using Zoom, and it's limited to 12 people. So me and 12 of you, I'll be teaching, giving you exercises and answering questions, normally charging $49 for that. So the spiral bound book and the workshop would be $83.95. But our special is $24.95 for the book, $20 additional for the workshop, so $44.95. Where do you go to get this? Oh, so the workshop, if you buy that, you're getting a voucher for a workshop. I haven't scheduled them yet.
But she will.
But I will, and you will just be able to pick which one that you want to come to, and your receipt basically will be your ticket for entry. So learngoogle.photos.com, find the red box that says launch special, and there you go. Or you can just get it from Amazon if you don't care about the spiral binding. I see one more question here. What was the Google Photo program that was used 15 years ago? No, it was up till 5 years ago. Picasa, right? Is that what you were thinking of?
Chris wrote a book on Picasa too.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Picasa. But it was for computers, not phones. All right, so I have some questions for you. Where do you find albums? Yeah, in the new Google Photos? Under the account button, under the library button, or under the search button? You can put it in chat, or there we go.
Library.
You are correct.
Library.
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 True or false? If your camera did not save location data for a photo, you can add it later.
Yes. Yes.
True.
True.
Very good. Where do you find settings in the new Google Photos? On the account button, the library button, or the search button?
Search. search.
Account.
Account.
It's under account and
Hey.
then photos settings. And what is this button called? Chat, sharing, or uh-oh, I messed up this. I don't know what that was supposed to be. But that's not the right one. The right one is B, sharing. So
I messed that one up.
I messed that one up.
And where do you find the map? The Map Your Photos feature. Is it under the Account button, the Library button, or the Search button? Anyone?
Search.
Search.
Because you're looking for photos. You know where you took it, and that's it.
And what website has our book launch special?
Learn.
Amazon.
Google.com.
Oh, and how do you get the free chapter? LearnGooglePhotos.com. Right. We should put that in the free. Well, let me go back to the beginning of this.
Sure.
Ah, there it was. There. Get your free intro chapter at bit.ly/LGP-intro. If you just want to get a taste before buying it. And how we doing, Huey or Bill? We can stick around for more questions, or I can keep showing you more stuff.
Chris and Jim, you've done a fantastic job. And I tell you what, we all applaud you. Thank you so much. That was great. And the questions were wonderful. And honestly, we're all going to go to work and learn from your book and do better with our photos from now on. So thank you so much for being here tonight. We truly appreciate it. And if anybody wants to stay on and you do later, that's up to you. But we do have one last thing we need to do before our time is over, and that is we've got to pick a winner for the $50 Amazon gift certificate.
And who is eligible for that, Ann?
Anybody who's a member. You have to be a member of Stug in order to be eligible for tonight's prize. And Bill has been in the back room sorting through all the memberships to make sure that the winner would be a member. And guess what he's come up with? Are you ready? Leah Pittard is a winner for tonight. Leah, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's a good thing.
Well, thank you.
You're so welcome. And you will be getting from Sharon Rump, who will be sending you a $50 gift certificate to Amazon, and we hope you will use it wisely. I want to thank every.
I know.
Go ahead.
You know where you can spend that.
Yes.
Right. Indeed you can, and congratulations. And again, Jim and Chris, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And at this, we will say the end of the meeting is at hand.